Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask the Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada, the engineer. With me, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control, audio control,
Something like that.
and the horizontal and the vertical. And the knobs. We're broadcasting live from the not Adafruit headquarters.
Yeah.
It's the Adafruit, home base. I don't know what do you
Yeah.
want to call this.
Well, we have a kid now. So we do the shows from home because we can't stay at the factory as long. However, we do pre-records and stuff like that, but we think that we'll be able to do more shows. We'll be able to have a different setup with how we do Desk of Lady Ada. So
Yeah.
more fun in store.
Yes,
So
more and more
change
to
is good.
come, including tonight's show, which is brought to you by the letters
Oh,
Pram. I don't know.
okay.
What's that show?
On tonight's show, the code is Pram. I'll talk about why the code is Pram on Show and Tell. I briefly mentioned, um, you know, why, but anyways, we'll talk about our Adafruit live shows, including Show and Tell, which we just did. Desk of Lady Ada,
It's back.
which includes the Great Search, JP's product pick of the week, a little bit of JP's workshop, some time travel, look around the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. From the mailbag, we have some letters from you. Thank you. Some help wanted, a couple jobs on the jobs Adafruit board. You could post your skills, or if you're a company, you can post the folks you're looking for. We got some 3D printing. We got Ion MPI. We got some top secret. Jepler made an amazing demo. You have to watch it. New products. We're answering your questions. We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/discord. That's where you put your questions at the end. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Phil B also had a really cool demo.
Yeah,
Yeah, lots of fun demos. Lots of.
there's some good demos.
It's January, time to start new hardware projects,
Yeah.
finish old ones. It's a brand new year, brand new us.
Okay, so the code is Pram. The reason that the code is Pram is because for folks tuning into Adafruit and following our story, we just had a kid, so of course, what's the first thing I need to do is get an old timey carriage that looks like a coffin on wheels.
What's funny is in the top right corner, you can see the Mac SE30, which we
Yeah,
now remember has the resolution of 512 by
yeah.
384. Thanks for everybody in the
So,
chat.
so this is the data for factory. This doesn't fit in our apartment. But if you look close, there's Lady in the background, our puppets. So anyways, that's why the code is Pram, because I needed to take a look at it. So maybe we'll be going around in Soho. But when you purchase things at Adafruit, in addition to getting that 10% off all the way up till whenever I go to bed, is this stuff. Lady, what do they
Freebies.
get?
That's right. We've got some freebies, and we're going to be changing the freebies in 2023. We started by updating the $99 or more freebie to be nudes. That's right. You get free
We'll
nudes.
send you nudes.
We'll send you nudes from Adafruit when you order $99 or more. We're giving away one of these really adorable, I think 130 millimeter long, warm white nudes. They're most popular size and
Most popular nudes.
the most popular nudes, top nudes. So that's $99 or more. If you order 149 or more, we'll get you a KB2040, which you can use to drive those nudes because they're just an LED that's noodle shaped. A great microcontroller board based on the RP2040. Lots of Raspberry Pi stuff this week. So why not celebrate it with a pink circuit board with an RP2040 chip and lots of hardware to get your project off the ground. 199 or more, we have free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. It's trackable, it's insured, it's really good shipping. And then we ran out of Circuit Playground Bluefruits this week, so we're not giving those anymore, but we're going to come up with something new for next week to give away at the next level.
Okay, we do a bunch of live shows, and we're going to be back doing a bunch of them.
Yes,
We started
back in the
with
South.
Show and Tell. Show and Tell had a bunch of folks that came by, especially Adafruit folks. Do check it out. Um, Although all the projects are our favorites, I'm gonna pick one this week. This
Yeah,
one was from Seth. Seth is doing a watch,
yeah,
and I think a lot of folks are kind of at the point where they're like, I just want a watch that tells time, or I want a watch to do like a single serving thing,
yeah.
kind of like a lot of things in our lives where we just wanted to do one thing, and you want to design it on your own. You wanted to like be able to repair it. So that's my pick of the week. Watch Show and Tell and check out this cool project. We also do from the desk of Lady Ada each week. We do that on Sunday. So, more, what did you show this week in part one of Desk of LadyAda?
That's a good question. So this week, I talked about some of the redesigns I'm doing. So again, new year, new you. Time to take some of those old designs that I couldn't manufacture the last 2 years because of part shortages or part price increases or parts only available in Atlantis or I don't know, whatever. It's been like a crazy 2 years for electronics designers. So this week, I'm looking at the TFT Featherwing, which basically every part got discontinued in a different way. So giving it a totally fresh rehaul, redoing the baseboards, cabinetry, everything, new TFT, new driver chip, new everything. And so I talked about how I'm doing that and did some live Eagle CAD.
Okay, and then we do a special segment from the Desk of LadyAda's Great Search. And this week, what did you help folks find on DigiKey.com?
Oh, so one of the cool things I wanted to show is the feather wing that I'm redesigning has a navigation switch on it. And I don't think people, realize there's a couple different popular navigation switches, which are different than thumbsticks, which are different than joysticks. So talking about the difference in between those and showing off this favorite five-way navigation switch, which has up, down, left, right, and insert, like select buttons. It's, very small, compact interface design, and it's very easy to wire up because you basically just act like five tactile switches.
Okay, cool. And then there's JP's product pick of the week. We're going to play a little highlight from that, and we'll see you on the other side.
The Cutie Pie ESP32C3. This one has both Wi-Fi and BLE capabilities. Not only can you code this in Arduino and in MicroPython, but you can also use Whippersnapper. It is connected to my network over Wi-Fi. I've connected up one of our little step switches here. It is both programmed in Whippersnapper, so I didn't have to type a line of code. I've got a on-off switch that when I press that on my dashboard, it will send a command over Adafruit IO and then over the Wi-Fi back to tell this LED to turn on. When I press the button on the Cutie Pie, it's going to send a command over Adafruit IO saying that I've done something. Now you'll see an update in my dashboard, and you'll also see I just got a text message, and that happened really quick, like within a couple seconds actually. It is the Cutie Pie ESP32C3.
And don't forget to watch JP's workshop every Thursday as well. On Friday, we do Deep Dive with Tim. Check it out on Fridays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And it's now time for some time travel. A little bit of news, a little bit of things going on here in Adafruit land. Yeah. First up, a little bit of a reminder since lots of folks are looking for Twitter alternatives. We are on Mastodon. Just you can search Adafruit. We're there. We decided that there was a lot of lessons learned in social media that we watched.
Wait, were any lessons learned?
Well, for us, so we watched how other like companies did stuff. We watched how we did stuff. So basically, like when we publish something, it is called a toot. We say like on our we do this on Twitter, but we also do this on Mastodon. We're like, hey, it was like LadyAda or myself or whoever is going to be authoring it, because I think that's important because a lot of folks are like, oh, this is like some nameless, faceless company. We're actually people. So if you want to join us there, it's still fun. It'll probably change, but until then, we're gonna have a good time there, and we're gonna post some of our projects and more. We post some photos, but we do that on the other social media places. We're not doing auto toots, like links from our blog automatically go there. I think that's kind of spammy, so we're not doing that. So do check it out.
Experimenting.
Yes.
Tooting.
Yes.
Experimenting.
A spare toots.
Letters. We get letters.
Next
We
up,
get tweets and we get
people send us nice emails and letters, and we read these in our weekly old company meeting called State of the Fruit. We also read some of them here. This one, I'm very happy with every one of my Adafruit experiences. One of my first purchases was over $300 worth of Pi stuff, and because of how much I bought, I got a free Circuit Playground Express. We don't have any more, but they got one.
We sold out.
That changed a lot of things for me. I plugged it in, started coding CircuitPython, uploaded to Circuit Playground Express, and was hooked. That's cool. That's kind of what we want. We really like that type of magical, like 5 minute or less. It's like I just typed some things, I plugged it in, and it just worked. So thanks for sending that in. We very much appreciate it. Help wanted. Adafruit jobs board. Okay. Oh, just a little bit of a follow up. Someone in the chat said, please keep RSS. We will always keep RSS.
Mastodon actually has really easy RSS built in. It's
Yeah.
always,
But on our website too.
oh yeah, we have RSS.
Yeah,
feed
we'll
on-
always do
we
that.
use RSS.
Yeah, we will always do that. I hate it when websites don't have RSS.
Man, I
feeds.
can't believe like Reader died. I'm still processing it, you know?
So yeah, we'll always have that. So help wanted. We have a couple of things going on. There is an Adafruit job. We use our job boards for our own stuff. We need employee resources, assistance, benefits, and payroll. New York area. There's possibility for remote, but you have to be in New York because we're in New York. So just check out
New
the
York
jobs. Yeah, New York State. What other New York would there be?
Well, not New York City.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was just like, there is other New
No,
York.
I mean, if
Yeah.
New York, New York, New York,
Yeah.
New York. Yeah.
And then a new one that was just posted was Make Inspires Makerspace, Esteem Educator, Part-Time Scratch Coding, and Tinker CAD 3D Printing. That is cool.
Cool. It's also in New York.
Yeah. So, okay, let's do some Python on hardware news, LadyAda. Blinka, blinka, blinka.
Cool.
Okay, so first up, people are going to ask this at the end of the chat, so you may as well.
Get
You
it.
may as well. So we all heard about this. There's going to be Bluetooth support in the Raspberry Pi Pico, likely in January. What does that mean?
Okay, let me tell you what that means and what that doesn't mean.
What doesn't it mean?
Okay, so that silver square over there, whatever, is contains this Cypress like 43439 chip or whatever the part number is, and that chip has the ability to do Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, and it can do Bluetooth Classic, and it can do Bluetooth Low Energy. And I believe it's either the same or very similar chip to a wireless chip that's used on the Raspberry Pi boards and the Pi Ws. So when they launched the Pico W, they launched with Wi-Fi support, which we recently added into CircuitPython as well. And so you can now use Arduino, MicroPython, CircuitPython with Wi-Fi. Now, the issue is that there's this other mode with Bluetooth, and you have to upload firmware, and like you have the commands, and like I don't know how to do the commands. The support is initially coming out for Pico SDK. That's the only thing that we've heard, and we assume that it'll also come out for MicroPython. The CircuitPython team and myself and Phil have no other information about this chip or whether it'll be easy to implement or hard or what stack they're using.
Yeah, we got some requests right away.
Yeah, and I would love
it done
to.
yet?
Yeah, so we did add, the Pico W Wi-Fi is added. I don't know how long it's going to take to add Bluetooth or how easy it's going to be or whether it's going to be Bluetooth Low Energy or Bluetooth Classic. We have to basically wait until the SDK code comes out and take a look at it. But if it's something that we can do, we would love to add Bluetooth support
Okay.
to CircuitPython.
All right, other stuff.
But no ETA, no information, no idea.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of the Pi cameras
Mhm.
because we have them. We'll talk about that later on in the show. We're still doing our CircuitPython 2023 posts and call for your input. So let us know what you want to see in CircuitPython in 2023. There's a lot of ways to let us know. You can also look at 2019, 2022, 21, 22 and see what you asked for and what you got. You can do it via video. You can put it in the CircuitPython forum. You can do a blog post on our site. You can post on Mastodon or Twitter or a GIST on GitHub. You can email us. So you have a million different ways. So please, please, please send us some stuff right away. And then I wanted to ask you about the espressive chips because people are going to ask about that as well. Have you seen the espressive chip? What do you think? Over on CircuitPython? Yeah.
Okay. So there's two new chips. There's the C6, and the C6 actually we're getting dev boards. I don't know when exactly they're coming, but we do have some dev boards on order that we'll be able to stock in the shop for people. It's a you can see here it's 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and Bluetooth Low Energy, not Bluetooth Classic, running on the RISC-V. So it's basically I think like the C3, which we already have in store. I think JP even did that for the product of the week. The C3, which doesn't have a lot of pins and doesn't have a ton of flash and memory, but we do have CircuitPython support for it. It does have also this kind of interesting, not native USB, but like built-in serial USB. So the C6, I think, is just kind of like an upgrade of that. It's still a RISC-V core, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Just has a little bit more memory, probably more capabilities, maybe more USB. Not sure, but we'll get the dev board soon. Then there's the P4. Now the P4 is sorry. There's P4. So the P4 is like it. I'm not. It just doesn't exist yet. Like I can't get a chip. There's probably engineering samples, but there's no dev board. The P4 is kind of the closest thing to like an IMX chipset. It's a very, very fast, big processor that has a lot of user interface stuff for it. For example, it has MIPI DSI CSI, which I find very interesting because a lot of displays these days and cameras come with CSI DSI interfaces. They don't come with parallel, and they use a lot fewer pins, which is like great because parallel displays use like 70 pins or something. So this is a large, physically large chip, with lots of flash, lots of RAM. Sorry, the flash is probably external, but it has lots of on-chip SRAM. It runs very fast. It's got a ton of peripherals, displays, interface, and stuff. But I'll tell you one thing: it doesn't have. It does not have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth built in, as far as I can tell. I see no reference to that anywhere. And so you would use this maybe with a coprocessor, or maybe you would run a very lightweight version of Linux on this, get 400 megahertz. RISC-V, maybe you could run like a little, miniature Linux distro, and that maybe you would use USB. I think it has high-speed USB. You would use that to um, get interactivity, but it's not a Wi-Fi chipset like every other ESP board, which I think is a little confusing. But as far as I can tell, does not have internet connectivity. So again, it's very, very new, and we'll get more information about it. But
It was like a chip week, chip announcement week. So Apple announced that they're doing, or like the rumors are they're going to do a Bluetooth Wi-Fi cellular on a chip. They're going to make it themselves.
Yeah, do you want to scroll down because there's the peripherals. Do you include the peripheral? Yeah, so sorry, go up. So it's got as you know, it's got SPI 50 GPIO, SPI I squared C I2C, PWM, RMT, they're automatic thing for IR, ADCs, DACs, UARTs, and wait, I don't know, 2-wire. And high speed on the go USB, which is very interesting, Ethernet, SDIO. So that and again all this display stuff. So that's what it's good for. It's good if you're like making it an all-in-one interactive device.
Okay. And that is our Python on hardware news this week. Don't forget, you get this delivered to your inbox every single week. Go to adafruitdaily.com. We don't spam you. We don't do anything with this. We have a completely separate site because we didn't want to have anything connected to your store account for your purchases. So go to Adafruit Daily. We also have some other newsletters over there. Okay, LadyAda, we have a bunch of guides this week. We're an open source hardware company. To prove it, we have 2,796 guides.
Oh.
Yeah, what I thought I would do is something a little different because since I have a little bit more control over how I do the show here, if I go to learn.adafruit.com while you're doing the which ones what are the new ones?
Yeah.
I thought that might be a neat way to display these.
Okay.
Because I can zoom in and zoom out because like we have these. This is okay. But I normally try to chunk them, and but you don't get to see the animations. So
Right.
we could probably do this a different
Try
way.
the screen capture. Ooh,
Yeah, it got cut off here, so I could fix that. Because yeah, but what?
we're learning.
Well, yeah. What I thought we would do is when you have one that you're like, oh, I want to, I want to see more of that, or I want to, show me the rest of that.
Okay.
Then we could do it. So.
All right. Cool. Good.
Hi, Blinka. Okay, so
Setup or something.
yeah, hi, Blinka. How's it going?
Okay.
Okay, so let's
from the top. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
we've
can go
got
there.
from Erin, light up your costume with nudes. So Erin, of course, is our in-resident mermaid. She's really great at cosplay, design, sewing, and so she's also really excited about anything that is very easy for people, especially beginners, to get started with. So she did a no solder guide using nudes and some ideas on how to decorate projects, how to wire them, and if you do want to do more advanced, PWM control, there's a microcontroller with Circuit Python and using glowing effects and pulsing effects. So this is like a Zoot suit that she kind of cyberified.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like doing it this way because I can show more of the guide while you're talking about it.
Yeah, this is cool, and she's a great photographer. Too.
Okay, excellent.
Check out the video. JP did a project on a pretty advanced 16 step drum sequencer, and I chatted about it on the show and tell. It uses like the MIDI channel 10. he shows how to wire up all these cute like TR-808 style switches to make a 4x4 um, step sequencer, and then how to send USB MIDI commands, and then the audio is played. There's different drums like the hi-hat and the cymbal and the cowbell, and that's sent to his DAW on the computer, which actually generates the audio. But it's fun to have like a little interface with
Yeah.
an LED matrix and lots of buttons.
Yeah, and the other thing that I like showing these is like, what you don't see on learn.adafruit.com? Ads and pop-ups and all this stuff. These are free guides for
You
everyone.
have to sign up.
You don't have to log in. You can print out a PDF for free. Like all this stuff. Like we really looked around and we decided what do we want to use. So
You don't have, when you start scrolling and then like it fades out and it's like you have to now log in to see the rest of it.
yeah, you don't have to have a subscription.
No,
Anyways,
free.
next up.
Next up, we've got some product guides. We've got the 4-channel I2C multiplexer. Liz did that one. We've got an updated released guide for the Scout Makes FM radio from Lally, a new product that we put in the shop. So if you want an I2C controlled FM receiver with RDS support, check that out. There's CircuitPython code. Liz also did a really quick guide for the 3 to 5 volt level booster breakout for STEM QTs. This is good for if you have a board that's 3 volt logic and you want to connect to a 5 volt power, 5 volt logic I2C device. It does the shifting and boosting up. We also have a version that does the level shifting and boosting down. It's the opposite version. So if you have 5 volt microcontroller, talk to 3 volt logic, it does it for you. Eva is going through and doing a lot of quick start guides for using Whippersnapper. So this one is we added piezo support. So PWM support is now in Whippersnapper, so you can have different frequencies and so you can have like different tones and effects. So if you want your IoT project to say beep when a value or signal goes above or below something, you can see here there's how to make different audio tones, and you can just use a low-cost piezo buzzer, which are available like anywhere. And honestly, you can actually even pipe that PWM signal into a speaker too if you want something really loud. Finally, we got the Pico W Pi Cowbell case. That's Noam Pedro's 3D print project. We'll show the video. But the Pico W is a really low-cost IoT dev board that's available. Why not make a little case that you can then easily plug STEM QT sensors and make IoT projects? And they also tried out Whippersnapper here to dig in a no-code IoT logger. So they have a dashboard with, I think, temperature, humidity, and light levels with the Pico W because we recently added support in Whippersnapper. And we see, okay, we've got the updated guide for the ESP32 S3 TFT. I think we just fixed a link to the board support package. Don't forget, we got the guide for the RP2040 Scorpio 4 output NeoPixel driver designed for driving massive numbers of pixels. Phil B. and Jepler both wrote the code and examples for this in Arduino and CircuitPython. So more rainbows. And then finally, new for this week, Brent did the Quick Start Pico W Whippersnapper. Again, there's nothing faster, no easier way to start graphing and logging sensor data. We support I2C sensors, digital sensors, buttons, outputs. You want it, you got it. And if there's stuff we don't support, just open up an issue and we'll probably add it. Like some people requested the SHD45. That's now supported. So if you have a Pico W and you want to make a really quick data logger set up with it, check out that guide. And it's also, it kind of pairs with the Noam Pedro 3D print project. It's like that, you follow that guide first, then you can build the 3D print case.
Okay. And we do have a video from
Aaron,
so we're going to show that.
Okay.
Add light to your costume using Adafruit Nudes, a flexible, glowing, light noodle. For a single nude, all you need is a single coin cell battery. Nudes are directional, so start by figuring out which end goes to which wire on your battery connector. Now we'll solder them up. Slip on some heat shrink, and it helps to bend the lead on the nude into a little hook so that you have something to attach your wire to. Now you can attach your nude to your project using hot glue or sewing or E6000. There's lots of different ways to do it depending on your project. Place the switch someplace accessible and enjoy your glow. We've got a full tutorial on the Adafruit learning system. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more fun project ideas.
All right, it's 3D printing time. Let's just jump right into the videos from Noah and Pedro.
You can build IoT projects with the Raspberry Pi Pico W and sensors from Adafruit. You can use Adafruit's Pi Cowbell protoboard for the Raspberry Pi Pico to make your project plug and play. It features a built-in reset button, a STEMMA QT port, and lots of pins for additional add-ons. Our 3D printed case makes it easy to wall mount so you can log sensor data with an all-in-one package. There's access to the USB port and the Pi Cowbell STEMMA QT port for easily connecting sensors over STEMMA QT. On the back is an opening for the built-in reset button so you can press it without having to open the case. The top cover features slots for mounting up to 2 STEMMA QT sensor boards. The back has an opening for the prototyping area so you can have additional wires pass through. Adafruit's Whippersnapper now has support for the Raspberry Pi Pico W so you can build projects without having to write any code. With Whippersnapper, you can easily set up sensors and start logging data. To get started, choose your board and walk through the device setup. Be sure to read through the steps and follow the instructions to get your board connected. With Adafruit I/O, you can build your own custom dashboards so you can quickly see your sensor data at a glance. To make your projects modular, you can use short socket headers, which keeps your project fairly low profile. 3D print the parts in your favorite filament and use support material for the mounting tabs. It features built-in standoffs with pegs, so you don't need hardware to secure the Raspberry Pi Pico W. Solder the header pins to the Raspberry Pi Pico W and the short socket headers to the Pi Cowbell, then just snap them together. The slots on the case are evenly spaced for fitting most of Adafruit's STEMMA QT sensor boards. Choose your preferred orientation and then use M25 screws and hex nuts to secure the sensor boards to the case. Insert the Raspberry Pi Pico W and press it down until the pegs are fitted through the mounting holes. Then place the back cover over the bottom with access to the prototyping area. Be sure to check out the tutorial for building this project on the Adafruit learning system. Command hooks are great for easily mounting the case to the wall so you don't need to drill any holes. We hope this inspires you to check out Adafruit's Whippersnapper and the Pi Cowbell for your next IoT project.
Okay, and before we go to IonMPI, don't forget the code is RAM, 10% off an Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. LadyAda, it is time for IonMPI.
on NPI.
Eye on NPI brought to you by DigiKey and Adafruit. This week it's from Wago. LadyAda, what is this week's Eye on NPI?
Ooh, this week's Eye on NPI is pretty exciting. It's terminal blocks. Now you might be like, terminal blocks aren't that exciting. These are really good terminal blocks. This is the 2601 series of terminal blocks, available at DigiKey. I'm showing here just the image of the 4 terminal block wide version, but of course they're available from anything from like 1 up to 12 pieces in a row. On the bottom, you see there's 2 pins for each one. That's for mechanical stability. Basically, this is a wire to board connector. You have bare wires, either stranded or solid core. You want to connect them to a circuit board. This is a great way to interface them from Wago, the 2601. So most people are familiar with terminal blocks that look like this. There's little screw terminals at the top, and you open them up with a screwdriver, and the little mouth opens. You stick the wires in, and you close them, and then that makes a good mechanical connection without using a specialized cable connector. Like you might be wondering, well, why not just use a JST-PH or similar wire to board connector that actually has a housing and contacts? Well, those are usually not rated for very high currents. They're not inexpensive, and sometimes they have voltage limitations. What it says about terminal blocks is they're inexpensive, they're extremely popular, they're kind of self-documenting. You don't have to worry about the connector coming loose. You can use stranded or solid core wire. They're very, very flexible. And they're available in 3.5, 5 millimeter widths. And like I mentioned, they're just extremely easy to use and popular. Like we've been using them for a very long time. However, there's some trade-offs. The Wago the standard terminal blocks, again, like I mentioned, have the screw terminal top. But first off, that sometimes they're Phillips, sometimes they're flathead. You have the wrong one, or you have the wrong size. You can easily strip them. It's sometimes also possible to insert the wire into like the rising part of the terminal block. So you think it's connected, but it's actually not. They can come loose. But basically you have to have the right tool for them. That said, we do use them a lot. Like here, this one is a flathead, screwdriver, whereas I think these next ones are Phillips. But we use them a lot for motors and power supplies. And again, anything with over 12 volts or over 5 amps, it's kind of hard to get a wire to board connector with socket and plug that can handle that much current. But we don't like the terminal blocks in some use cases because they're not completely infallible. Like people can kind of mess them up, and like I said, you think the wire's in, but it's not, or it's loose. And you need the right tool. If you want more information about terminal blocks, because there are a couple different types, I did notice that DigiKey has a great video talking about the PCB mount, which is what I tend to use, the barrier strips, which are often used in telephony, and feed through, which I think is used mostly for electrical work. The Wagyu ones, the 2601s, they come in 2 types. There's the horizontal type. These are really nice renderings showing them off with the levers. And then this is the diagram in the data sheet. These are 3.5 millimeter spacing, so they're very compact. I don't like to use terminal blocks that are more compact than this. They do make them smaller, but I find 3.5 millimeter is perfect. Boundary of having not too much board space taken up by the terminal blocks, but also you can use a variety of different wire thicknesses. There's also the vertical style, which I think is kind of neat. So this way the wires go in the top and the levers stick out the side. And again, you can get any range. I'm just showing like the 4 or 5 pin, but they do come up to like I think 12 plus in a row, and it looks like you can even snap them together if you need to. So for the connections, you can use 26 to 16 gauge. If it's stranded, 24 to 16 gauge, and you can actually also push and terminate. So you say solid conductor push and termination. If they're very thin wires, of course, or stranded, you have to open the lever and put the wire in and then close it. But if you're using a solid core wire, you can actually kind of just push it in, and as long as it's 20 gauge or thicker, it'll push through and it'll make good contact. And they're rated for very high current. I think on the side actually, because I think it was 10 amps, 300 volts, and they're UL IEC tested as well. So these are very high current, very high voltage. And there's a video that we'll show later that actually, people are like, how do you know, what happens if you try to put 50 amps through it? They actually show what happens when they take a WAGO like wire nut connector, and they put massive amount of current through it, and they show like everything melts, but the contact still.
We have two videos that we'll show at the end, so 3 minutes altogether, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, they make really good stuff. And if you're making a product that has very high current capacity, motor drivers, power management, electrical work, you really do want something that's rated for the high voltage and the high current, and these are absolutely. I'm going to give you exactly what they say on the tin. So check out all the different options. I picked up. I'll show on the overhead. I picked up some of the 5 wide horizontal ones, but they've got different ones in stock. So whichever one you like, and then they also have the EDA for your layout circuit board layout software, whether it's Altium or OrCAD or EOCAD. You can download the footprint and get going. Yeah. But these are very nicely made.
Just in case it wasn't clear, these are available on DigiKey.
They are in stock.
And they are in stock. There's 450 in stock at the time of this printing.
That's right.
All right, so you want to show these off?
Yeah, because they're first I want to try out the overhead, because we updated the overhead. So they're very nice, snappy style, and you can really tell that they're closed or not. They have a nice clicking effect. Oops, sorry. That's you.
There's a keyboard.
It's a keyboard. So you can open for stranded wires, you'll open it and you can see the throat open up, and then when you snap it closed, it closes. But as I mentioned, if you have a solid core wire, in this case,
I'm going to be dangerous. I'm going to zoom in.
Oh, you're going to zoom in? Okay.
Look at this.
Oh, wow. That's nice. So you can actually, see the throat terminal.
See how much I can zoom in. Whoa.
Whoa.
Okay, backing up. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay.
All right.
So you can see here, it makes a really nice grip. And then what's also nice is on the side, they tell you up to, you can see it says 9, so up to 9 millimeters wide. So you can also just use, I didn't realize you could just push the terminals in, but nice feel, nice, good, strong connection. It doesn't, you can push in, but you can't pull out. It's like the Hotel California. So this is the WAGO 2601 terminal blocks. Very fancy, very nice. Strongly recommended if you want something a little better than just plain screw top terminal blocks.
Okay, and we're going to play, they have 2 really good videos, and we're going to play them back to back.
Okay.
The 222 series connectors are designed for a nominal current of 32 amps. All of these connectors not only exceed the relevant normative requirements, but also provide an additional safety range compared to the normative minimum requirements. This safety range reflects Wago's high-quality requirements while providing maximum safety even in exceptional circumstances. For example, even in the case of an invalid overload of several times the nominal current, the connector's functionality is provided beyond the stability of other equipment. In the event of a failure of more than 3 times the nominal current, the conductor insulation melts and the wire starts glowing. This is not the case for Wago's 222 series splicing connector. Both the connector's electrical functionality and housing insulation remain intact. The connector housing will only melt after a prolonged overload and will eventually drop off the contact. The contact is still intact and the wires remain securely connected. Even after such an extreme test, the contact points continue to meet the normative requirements in terms of contact quality. Wago, quality from the...
On NPR.
Okay, now
All
we're
right.
doing it. You're like, you're...
I'm so excited for new. I was like, no, I gotta do the new song.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's our new setup is coming
Yeah.
all in a new shambles.
Yeah. No, but this is exciting.
It was exciting.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I
Ready?
got this new overhead.
New.
Very excited.
Well, yeah, everything is brighter too, and there isn't like I like the Adafruit factory, but the air compressor isn't going, and like
The audio quality.
is everything's like just it's easier because it's
A lot
harder
of people
it's harder in one way and it's easier in another way because we have a lot more control over everything here. Because my opinion is when you're filming at a place like Adafruit, like we don't want to be in the way of everyone else. So like our setup and everything that we did is just like we want to make sure the means of production is always going around. We don't ask our employees to do stuff in the show or anything. We just kind of stay there, but it just means that like it's always noisy, there's always things going on. So kind of like this setup. It's kind of nice. Anyways, let's go into the new product.
New.
All right, LadyAda, we got a bunch of new stuff this week. However, you wanted to show something that we need. It was less than new because you wanted to show it last week, but we didn't have it with us.
Wait, and now of course I just.
Uh-oh.
Wait, I just lost it.
Did you have it in your hand here?
Oh my goodness. No, it's right here.
Okay.
Everything's black. So if my components are black, it's a little bit like where to go. Okay.
Yeah, we got some. So our kiddo has black clothes and everything's black here. So sometimes you just see this like head. Anyways.
All right, I want to show this this thumbstick. So this thumbstick we put in the store last week, but I forgot to bring one home with me to show off in a live demo. So it's nice that this is a. It's got 6 pins. Whoa, so close. There's 2 analog joysticks and then 1 switch. So the switch is 2 pins and the analog joystick is power ground and then 2 analog pins. But I just wanted to show what a nice analog joystick this is. And then this also has a select. So you can't quite hear it, but it does click in. So it's very like Joy-Con-esque.
Yeah.
But it's something you can actually use because it just shows up as 2 analog potentiometers and a tactile switch.
Okay, next up.
Okay, we have a heater element. Somebody actually asked us to carry this, and I was like, this is a good idea. So for our quick, I think the 957 hot air station, the hot air elements and hot air stations are actually not designed to, they don't last forever. Eventually they burn out, and they're designed to be replaceable. So if you've been using that hot air station a lot, and you eventually, the hot air element breaks, you don't have to replace the whole station. Just grab one of these pieces. You'll have to do the surgery yourself. That one doesn't look too bad. Looks like there's the thermocouple sensor, the red and the yellow wires, and then the power connector, which is that big chunky connector in the middle. Plug and play, close it back up, and you're ready to heat up again.
All right, next up, people were asking about these. They're here.
Okay. There's 2 cameras, and it took me a while to figure out the difference. So the first camera is the camera module 3 wide. And so this is it's an all-in-one, ready-to-go camera module. It uses like this new Sony sensor. I think it's 12 megapixels. And it's got hold on, actually, get the case in front of me. It has the Sony IMX708 12 megapixel sensors with I2C focus actuator. So the reason it looks kind of big, the big metal piece, is there is an autofocus capability built in. the lens can move up and down, just like most modern
Cool.
smartphone cameras. The lens moves back and forth so it can focus. So that capability is now available in the Raspberry Pi cameras, whereas the Camera 1 and Camera 2 did not have that capability. This has a 120-degree diagonal, wide angle view. You could probably put another lens on top of it, but it kind of is designed to use as is, and supported with Raspberry Pi. If you're using a Raspberry Pi A or B, like one of these standard size Raspberry Pi computers, it has a 20-centimeter cable that you can plug right in, use the Pi camera software, Pi Camera 2 or Lib camera, and you're ready to rock. If you have a Pi Zero, you'll want to grab one of the adapter cables that we stock, and it only comes in one size, but it's pretty long. And then of course you can always use a one of our camera extenders. We have a in the shop. It's called the CSI extender thingy. You can use that if you need to extend the cable even more, but this adapter will at least get you to the right width FPC connector. Otherwise, just a nice little upgrade, and there's going to be more versions of this camera, but right now the wide camera is the one that's available.
Okay, and they have a video, so we're just gonna play it. Kind of
Okay.
cool that video was shot on the camera.
I love that it says at the end, like, shot.
Very nice. Okay, next up, another camera.
Next up, this is not the same. It looks very similar, but it's actually a totally different camera module. So this is the Raspberry Pi high quality camera. It uses, hold on, let me see if the sensor. It also has a 12.3 megapixel camera, but I don't remember what the chipset it uses. It's also Sony, but I don't remember the exact chip sensor. It's doesn't come, so this big metal thing is called an M12 lens adapter. So it doesn't come with a lens, and you need to add a lens. When you get it, it basically just has like this raw sensor element exposed to the world.
There you go.
You have to
Have fun.
yeah, don't spit on it, don't drop your coffee onto it. You need to get a separate lens. Now we already stock in the shop a different, very similar looking high quality camera that uses a C or CS type lens. This is called an M12 lens. So basically, if you find M12 mount lens or M12 mount adapter, you'll be able to use this high quality camera with those lens kits. Let me show them on the overhead because they're pretty different. So this one, I'm going to see.
Want me to give you some light?
Well, yeah, there you go. So this is the M12. So yes, this is the M12. So it's the high quality camera, but they just mounted it onto a piece of metal that now has M12 threading on it, and it also comes with a couple of little adapter thingies. Well, to be honest, they're little plastic adapter things, and then you can see the lens element, the sensor element in there. Keep it protected with your little cappy cap. So just remove that, insert the lens, and then
Yeah, I think
put it back. Yeah, there's a little adapter thingies. I guess they're used for mounting the lens onto it. And then this is the camera 3 wide, and you can see. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you can see it's significantly taller. So we have a cute little case. It will definitely not fit in this case because the height of this motor mount is quite a few millimeters taller. So just be aware if you're using an existing Raspberry Pi case or whatever enclosure, it may not fit if it's expecting the height to be the same as the Raspberry Pi Camera 1 or Camera 2. Otherwise, it's the same interface cable as the Camera 3. Sorry, the Camera 3 has the same interface cable as the Camera 1 or Camera 2. So you can use it with any Raspberry Pi.
Okay. And the star of the show besides you, LadyAda, our team, our community, everyone who's keeping things going, our staff, customers is
The OV5640 camera
Looks like
module
cameras tonight.
break. Yeah, it's coincidental. I mean, I didn't know that when this came out, I didn't know that we were going to have the Raspberry Pi cameras. But I'm also doing camera stuff. So this is a camera module breakout, and it looks very similar to existing camera module breakouts, but it's a lot better because we've been doing a lot of camera coding, and I learned a lot from trying to interface to other camera module breakouts. So this is for a 10-bit wide parallel interface camera, sometimes called OV7670s, OV2640s. This is the OV5640 in particular. It's a 5 megapixel camera with a 8-bit interface, and then the lower 2 data bits are used often for motor controller or strobe or something. You do need to have a chip that can support this interface. It's not like you can connect an Arduino Uno to it and it'll just work. First off, it's 3-volt logic. Use I2C to control the resolution and whether it's a JPEG mode or RAW mode. And then you have to blit the data out of the camera very quickly. So the RP2040 can do it. We have some example code to do it in CircuitPython. And some ESP32, S2, and S3 boards can do, that family of chips can do it as well. The 7051 in theory has the ability to do parallel capture on cameras. However, we never really got it to work very well, so we don't recommend it. So far, the RP2040, it has enough SRAM and it has the PIO peripherals to be able to get that data off the camera. Because you have to get it off, as the pixels are coming out, which is quite fast. And the ESP32, S2, and S3 have peripherals that you can use to DMA, and they have example code to DMA the video or frame buffer data off and into the PSRAM on those chips. So a couple of things that I improved on it. So let's go to the overhead and I'll show the things that I did that are better. So it has the standard 2 by 9 pin header connector down here. So a lot of camera ready boards have this connector, so you can use that connector. But I also added a duplicate of this row up here. But it's 0.3 inches apart, which means you can use this in a breadboard or a perf board or something where you don't want to have the pins right next to each other. Another thing I did is I added a little heat sinking area. So some of these cameras can get pretty warm and it actually causes a little bit of image drift. They sometimes get a little bit purplish or reddish. So you can attach a heat sink. These are via'd through, and there's another gold outline, exposed copper, gold on the other side. And so you have some good thermal transfer. I put a oscillator on here that generates 24 megahertz clock signal, and so you can connect that to the X clock pin, because sometimes you have a peripheral that can do the data blitting, but it can't generate the 24 megahertz signal, or maybe you don't want to use a pin for that. So you can use this onboard crystal. And second, like the camera module for the Raspberry Pi we talked about, there are some OV2640s or OV5640s that have a motor that can do autofocus. And so to do that, you have to connect the VM, the data 1 pin to 3.3 volts. So here's a jumper that lets you do that. Don't connect it by default in case your camera does use the data 1 pin as output. You don't want to short it to ground. But if you're using a camera that has a motor control, just short that pin. And then there's also a power good LED on the back, and the strobe signals also brought out. So just a lot of little updates and improvements. It's otherwise the same pinout and shape and mounting hole sizes and everything as standard 2 by 9 header camera modules, but I just wanted something better for folks that are experimenting with these cameras. So it's coming to the store soon. Next week we'll probably have it in the shop, and I'll have some demo code running as well.
Okay, and then I just wanted to make note, we have these new quarters, so you'll notice that they're in new product pages and more. So that's new products for the week.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you can sign up for the newsletter. You can do that through Adafruit Daily or the newsletter that you can sign up for on our store. You have to go into your preferences and allow it. We do not automatically sign anyone up. Just go to adafruit.com/newsletter for the new product newsletter. And that is new products for the week. That's very good. Okay, a little bit of a reminder. Pram is the code because I got to turn this into my own
Brand.
swanly looking carriage for baby. Let's do some questions. You can start posting them up over on Discord. That's where we do the questions. But we're going to show some top secret. So first up, don't forget, that's where you post the questions on our Discord. Let's do some top secret. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's play this video from Jeff.
Hi, Jepler here. I just wanted to show you something that I'm working on. Thanks to Pico DVI by Luke Wren, it's possible to drive a standard DVI monitor with an overclocked RP2040 microcontroller. And it's easy to hook up with this Pico DV board from Pi Moroni. LadyAda challenged me to create a firmware that listens for the standard SPI TFT protocol and converts it to HDMI. Well, here it is. This board here is another Raspberry Pi Pico, but it's running standard CircuitPython with display I/O. 4 signal wires connect that signal over to the Pico DV running this new firmware. And on the monitor, you can see the standard CircuitPython Turtle demo from our Learn system. This would basically let you run any CircuitPython device with display I/O and display the result on a standard HDMI or DVI monitor. So we think that's pretty cool.
Now it's top secret.
It's not out yet. Don't ask.
All right, it's time to answer your questions. We have some lined up here in the chat already. Please make sure you put them in Discord because we got a lot of chats everywhere, but Discord's the place where we answer questions. Okay, you ready, LadyAda?
Let's hit me.
Okay, so the first one is question for Ask an Engineer. Is it possible to control the exposure levels on the QV5460? I want to do some HDR projects. It can be done with 2 cameras, but I've read of implementations that used 1 camera. They alternated between 2 exposure levels each frame, then integrated them to make an HDR image. Is that possible?
Good questions. You can manually control the exposure levels, but they're not very fine level exposures. You might be better off using like a nicer camera that has like some sort of remote control protocol.
Jeff posted up a link in the CircuitPython project docs that says you can set the exposure value. The doc says by whole numbers from -4 to +4, so maybe.
Yeah, I just don't know if you want to do HDR and you want it to look really nice. This camera, it's 5 megapixels. It's not a super fancy camera.
Okay. Any plans to make a board with the IN100 nano beacon with stemma connector for sensors? Seems to be very low power, low expense, and can be implemented with boards like ESP32, etc.
Don't know what that is, but maybe you should do it because it sounds like you are excited about this.
Question: have you received the NRF 7002 dev kits from Nordic yet? If so, have you had a chance to try out the chip?
I have not. I've been busy caring for a baby.
Yeah. Jibbler's in chat and he says, even though it's not out yet, you can still get the code because it's open source on GitHub. So it's kind of out. You can kind of.
But don't ask.
Yeah, we're just not like, it'd be hard to support specific products or projects with it yet because this is hot off the press. Yeah. Okay, wondering what the best strategy to connect the test pads on a Pi Pico if soldering to a PCB. I'm trying to use secondary USB port and would like to hand solder if possible. I heard you can use hot plate and stencil it to do this, but trying to make it more accessible. Sorry, I posted on Pi Chat too. That's okay.
Yeah, those pads are not really available. So yeah, you'd have to have a stencil because you have to get underneath and you have to really heat it quite well. So it's not easy. You might want to find a different dev board that maybe has those pads accessible. Like if you need if you need to access the D- and D+ pins, the KB2040, I bring those out onto headers, and so you can get to the USB pins quite easily.
Okay. I can do this one. Any updates on AdaBox? Yeah, we're ride or die here. We're shipping first quarter AdaBox, and then we're gonna open up for more subscribers. Here's something to keep in mind though. We're full with subscribers. If you leave and come back, you might have a different price because I think,
or you might not be able to come in.
We might not be able to come in, but if you do leave and come back, so AdaBox we started a while ago now. I don't know, 5 years, something like that. More, yeah. So we want to open up to more subscribers, but we also know that it's more expensive than when we first started AdaBox. So we're thinking maybe we can do something for the current subscribers. Maybe they have the same pricing, essentially
for a bit.
And then anybody new, they get what the pricing should be now. So anyways, that's that's what the latest update is. But we are shipping. Next up, which would be the 200 millimeter aperture with a 900 to 1000 millimeter focal length?
I don't know.
Which would be, oh, I think that's a statement. Okay.
Yeah.
Question: do dev boards with a thread protocol?
I don't know any. Well, check the Thread website. I'm sure they have links.
Oh, favorite part of Parenthood so far? Do you have anything?
Waking up is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a new day every day. Like,
I'll say
it's like every day is like less than 1% of her life. That's pretty amazing.
yeah, I'll tell you the thing that I like the most. When they smile at you, the world, the universe stops and it just completely melts you, and it is so amazing and special.
The cats don't really smile.
And no, you know, every sentient being has a form of love, but like when a baby smiles at you after they get to a certain age and they recognize you and everything, man, like it hits hard in a good way. So there isn't anything favorite. I'll just say that that's just one of the things that's like it is so heartwarming when they smile at you and they just look at you and you could tell something's going on. Okay, question. Considering using a ESP32 S2 or 3, how quickly could you get an image from the OV5640 camera with max resolution?
Well, at max resolution, you would probably use a JPEG, and I think you can do it in like a second or two. But you want to check it out and actually try it. It does depend on how you're transferring, where you're putting the data in the end. If it's just in RAM, because probably you want to save it to SD card or something.
Yeah.
So it's not video, it's not video speed, but it's a couple seconds.
Here's a good one, and we'll end on this. Do we regret not having the product, the PID 5640 for the product 5640?
Yeah, I probably should have, but I didn't. And I'm trying to do that sometimes.
Oh yeah, sometimes it works out.
I wanted to
And
get it out when I could.
that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much, everybody. There's multiple of us. We're cloning us. That's what we've been working on. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
All right.
Super good show.
The show and our new setup.
Yeah, it's working out. We'll see everybody. It might be a pre-record next week because we're hanging out with some Raspberry Pi folks that are in town. We'll have show and tell, a lot of other stuff, but there'll be something going on. We're gonna even try to arrange some type of video thing with them. But thank you so much. Don't forget the code is Bram. 10% off in the show all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Here is your moment of Zener. Thanks, everybody.